Hi, I'm Jim Pouliot, Director of the Milford Water Utilities, and I'd like to take a moment to show you around the wastewater treatment plant here in the town of Milford. Wastewater enters the Milford Wastewater Treatment Facility in two different ways, by the sanitary sewer collection system or hauled in by a septic truck. When haulers bring in septage from area homes, they are connected to the septage receiving facility. This building is where the sand and large materials are separated from the wastewater. Septage is then combined with the wastewater that is collected from areas throughout Milford and Wilton. The main pump station is at the lowest point at the treatment facility. It is also adjacent to the Souhegan River. A mechanical screen in the channel removes rags and other inert materials before wastewater collects in a wet well. On the dry side of the main pump station, there are pumps, electrical equipment, piping, and valves. There are 3 pumps that lift the wastewater from the wet well and pump it to the headworks for additional preliminary treatment. This pump station has been threatened by flooding several times over the last 2 decades. Wastewater from the main pump station passes through an open channel with a set of bar racks to remove inert materials that can be detrimental to downstream equipment and processes. Beyond the bar racks is a grit collection area that separates sand and other abrasive materials that can wear out downstream pumps and piping. The operations staff weekly removes the inert materials and grit from the headworks for disposal. The wastewater flows from the headworks going to the primary clarifiers for additional settling and treatment. There are 2 primary clarifiers that act as settling tanks. Heavy solids settle to the bottom of these clarifiers. Any floating materials, such as grease, float to the surface and are scraped off using a mechanical arm. Solids that have settled are then pumped to the gravity thickeners, and the wastewater leaving the primary clarifiers travels to the aeration tanks where bacteria and microorganisms break down organic matter as food. Liquid wastewater enters the aeration tanks, where air is pumped into the bottom of the tanks to accelerate treatment. The aerated wastewater is held in the tank for several hours to further break down the wastewater. Then the flow travels to the secondary clarifiers for additional settling treatment. The processed water flows slowly in the secondary clarifiers, allowing organisms and solids to further separate from the processed water. The solid settling happens continuously until enough solids accumulate on the bottom of the clarifier to require pumping out to the sludge holding tanks for further processing. The clear liquid flows over weirs and continues to flow by gravity to the effluent channel, which has a flow measurement flume to record the volume of treated water leaving the wastewater treatment facility. The treated water then passes through a series of ultraviolet lights which destroys any remaining microorganisms suspended in the treated water. An automatic sampler collects treated water for testing to confirm permit limits are achieved through the entire treatment process. Once disinfected, the purified water flows over a stepped cascade that introduces additional oxygen into the water. The treated disinfected wastewater travels through an underground pipe to a diffuser in the riverbed, where it is blended with the natural waters in the Souhegan River. The gravity thickeners, which have collected both primary and secondary solids, is now being processed through our dewatering unit. Sludge is periodically pumped from storage tanks to a centrifuge where it is dewatered to a 30% solid state. The 30% solids are trucked from the operations building to a temporary storage container, then is transferred to another facility for composting. Wastewater samples are collected daily from multiple locations in the treatment process and tested in the wastewater treatment facility laboratory. Test results indicate the level of performance and documented permit compliance that is required by EPA and New Hampshire DES. Now that you have learned about the facility, I encourage you to come down for a tour. Please vote yes on warrant article number 3 on March 14th, 2023.